Without further ado, please join us in giving a warm and resounding IIUM welcome to our esteemed speaker, Sir Cheong Jet Hao.
Thank you.
Thank you for everyone to be presented here. And today we are going to be more interactive, and hopefully you will not be fall asleep after your dinner. Right? Try to cheerful yourself and say, it is good to hear about integrity topic. Right? Don't feel it is boring topic. Right? You can go to YouTube, you can go to TikTok, right? You can see my view on speaking up, and it's all cheerful, right? And hopefully, I will get engaged with your guys and also speak up and ask questions, right? We are warmly welcome that you can ask more insightful questions so that you can share with others your story, your experience, or your motivations, things that you wanted to do to be a leader in future, right? And you will bring the good name of IIUM when you are becoming a leader in civil service or corporate levels, right, in the future, right? I hope people are looking for jobs as well, wanted to be more comfort where they have more success in their career, all right? So hopefully you will choose a career that actually more integrity to be a leader that serve the country better, right? The future is upon you, right? And you will be more have a choice to be more ethical and moral in value to uphold this integrity. Okay, without further delay, I'll go on my slides on how to uphold integrity. My name is Cheong, right? I'm coming from SPRM KL. Who did not went to shopping in my town or IKEA? I think most of them has been in IKEA, right? Right. So my office is located nearby IKEA, Velocity, right? Kampung Pandan, that area. Right? It's a 4-story building. Okay, feel free to come forward and ask us about anything about corruption. We may do joint programs with students, right, with mahasiswa as well as undergraduate or postgraduate students, right? All right. Right, without further ado delay, all right, I'm also one of the tutorial karate do practitioner, and I also joined a multinational company. It's called Sinovate before I joined the civil service. I do external audits for multinational companies. 2010, I have attended the courses and qualified to be an investigator, and I do as a think tank to give some input ideas on strategies in Malaysia Anti-Corruption Academy, right? A lot of our directors are graduates from IIUM. Right? One of the directors from GIACC is Datuk Saiful. He's also graduate from IIUM. Puan Rashida Abdul Karim, our pengarah of DASA, is also masters from IIUM. Puan Umi, our deputy directors from Malaysia Anti-Corruption Academy, is also graduate from IIUM. So there are many graduates that actually join us to be a leader in our organizations, right? So I'm also working as an investigator. The word investigation is so scary, right? But it's not scary. It's just a word for us to investigate corruption cases, right? And financial scandals as well, right? All right. So in a current trend of world that you are living in today, whether it's in corporate, whether it's in public sectors, right? You heard that IIUM also wanted to towards sustainability. So that is a goal of every citizen of the earth who wanted to achieve, right? Because it's now the age of trend to get more sustainable world where you have more environmental, right? More social, responsible moralities, as well as good governance. So those kind of practice will actually give us a good performance and enhance our reputations and most trusted branded that you are wearing or where you are located to have it, right? So you want to enjoy a quality life with a good sustainability, right? So these are the most expert that we are going through. But beside that, we also focus on GRC, where you need to also emphasize on governance, risk management, as well as compliance, right? So that you will be practically engaged with the corporate world, with the leaders, so that you will enhance your leadership skill as well as career, right? Without further delay, like to as a case study, right? I always look at books, textbook, right? You look at all the articles, books on working ethicals or either business ethicals books. They will always have these publications online where these are the well-known cases, right? Everybody also wear jeans or either you have some fashions on jeans, right? So where are all those jeans coming from? It's coming from this country called Bangladesh, and it's also coming from this manufacturer, right? So they are the one who produce jeans, Levi's, right, and many garments that actually fashion the jeans, right? So what do this case study tell us? In 2013, they will have a collapse of the building, right? What is collapse the building? That everything will collapse, including the supply chain and the industrial people who works there, right? So what about the leaders who actually pay bribe to the authorities to build that unethical building or unethical manufacturing, right? So you punish them by in court and put them in jail and penalize them, right? So that is an outcome and negative implications that have to be punished and also revised to make sure that they will be emphasizing on integrity, right? So after the case, they come out with supply chain due diligence, right? A word due diligence is very important in a common world where you practice good integrity and governance. Due diligence is you do have a check and balance, you have a good accountable and also a systematically approach to comply at the system procedures, right? So what you have to do is look into the universities that you wanted to go and see, you compare which is the best, which is the good before you make any decisions. So that is what we call due diligence on a process basis, right? So the supply chain in the world have kickbacks, grows to actually give identification as a risk in a common practice where bribing officials in presence of supply chains is irrelevant in the bribery process of securing license to operate, right? It includes some extortions act, for example, threatening an auditor to report him or her unless a manufacturer passes an inspections or associate requesting loan have also been identified as a growing issues. So it's a global issues as well as industrial chain issues. So it will give a big impact to industrial supplies, right? So having a good guideline and responsible supply chains is one of the initiatives by OECD, right, to actually enhance that supply chains to practice more integrity with the procedure and process with the due diligence. This is where how they actually overcome it by preventive measure, right, and to have more strategic approach and initiative. All right. Besides that, we look at the evaluations of the skill, right, as well as the remedy of the characteristics of bribery in the context of due diligence, right? So you can look into what the money trail as well as the audit trails and look into how much money has been paid and to identify the weakness and the suspect that involved in that circumstances evidence, right? So besides looking at it, you also look into the characteristics, the activities that involve. Maybe the suspect have very huge bribe or having a huge loan with the bank. So he has to actually take those bribe money to cover the loan payment, right? So we look at the characteristics. All right, Malaysians are worried about inflation, but corruption is the biggest concern, right? Looking at that ISO survey, right? Survey from multinational market research companies that provide a data to actually looking into 1 in 2 Malaysians, 53% are worried about financial and political corruptions, right? Up from 48% in April, keeping it the biggest worry among Malaysians. This is a survey after COVID. They found out that not the biggest concern is inflation, but is a corruption occur in our surrounding, not only in workplace, but also in campuses or either your house or your locations of residential, right? Right. So this is the results that they shows that 50% are worried about financial and political corruptions. Okay, besides that, let's look at 2023 about a global survey. Look at the average. Globally, countries are worried about inflation, right? Malaysia, financial and political corruption is 50%, is the highest compared to global countries' average. Corruption and political corruption is still low at 26% only. So it shows that Malaysians are more concerned about anti-corruption. That's why everybody are here, 700 audience, right? So it's really a huge concern about corruption issues. Right. So let me go through briefly which organizations are actually agencies appointed to initiate a government initiative to fight corruptions. Right. Okay. Anti-corruption MACC is to combat corruptions independently, transparency, as well as professionals. That is why we have a lot of classes that make sure that our graduates produce good leaders, right? So let's talk about the history of MACC. Okay, MACC is not new, just born, but it's already has been born after the independence. In 1959, they already have investigations under the police, PDRM, and as well as some of the initiative of preventive measure under the Minister Office. So 1967, right, the late Tun Dr. Ismail has to become Badan Pencegahan Rasuah, right? Is in English we call anti-corruption agencies, right? It's one of the first pioneer in the world, right? So after that, we have also some transformations to become FBI. We call it Biro Siasatan Negara. Okay, either we call it National Investigation Bureau, right? So in 1982, we changed back a name called ACA, Anti-Corruption Agencies, and 2009, we have transferred into a commission, right? So that we have given more authorities power to investigate and to do some seizing or either freezing order towards the unclean money, right? Right, so hope that you have interest to join us to be an officer in next 2 years or after you graduate. Come to us, apply in SPA. SPA we call it Suruhanjaya Perkhidmatan Awam. SPA 9, there's 8 applications, just apply. Look at the P. Okay, they have a code of classifications of Perkhidmatan is P, Pencegahan. So just click on it, then you will see that all the job descriptions on our website, right? So there is also check and balance among officers that practice within the jurisdictions of MACC, right? Right, so we have 5 overseeing MACC as a check and balance mechanism to make sure that this organization is beautifully practice the right way and comply with the Organizations Act, right? So we have Lembaga Penasihat Rasuah is an advisory body that oversees us so that we have more reporting as well as give us more insightful input on initiative, right? There are also a panel, Nilai Operasi, or either we call it Operational Evaluations Panel, that actually administratively overseeing cases that we review. Also a complaint committee that oversees the disciplinary actions against officers, right? also have one committee called Panel Perundingan Pencegahan Rasuah, right? It's more on consultations and to put on initiative at the first hand to fight corruption, right? We also have Jawatankuasa khas mengenai rasuah in a cabinet so that they get ministers to actually get feedback from them to look into the mechanism of check and balance, right? Okay, next slides I'm going through on the function under the Section 7 MACC Act 2009, right? So every functions that we have done will become a department. By each sections, they have a divisions as well as a head of units to actually operate the whole functions of MACC, right? Hopefully, after graduates, you have the interest to join us as an officer to practice to be a leader in our organizations, right? Don't worry, the gaji is very affordable and very reasonable, right? There are many benefits. Maybe some other days I can talk about the civil servant benefits, right? So the first thing is to act and to investigate such report, right? Chief Commissioner or the officers consider practicable, right? Every single report that we have received or information given by a whistleblower, we will revise and to see whether it's practical to investigate, right? That's also to detect some investigations by undercover operations as well as some agents that actually put behind the scene to discover some cases as well, right? They might not be an officer, but they have given authorities to discover some fraud cases as well as financial scandal on the ground, right? And besides, there are also a lot of preventive measures that have given the authorities to act on. For example, to examine practice, systems and procedures public body in order to facilitate the discovery of the offences under the Act, right? So that we can also give some opinion to examine system procedures that actually give the loophole to have the corruption cases occur, right? Besides that, we do instruct and advise and assist any person, okay, on a lateral request, which corruption may be eliminated by such person, right? For example, maybe you are coming from a hometown, okay, you may wanted to know more, right? And your community wanted to know more about corruptions, right? Just invite us by writing to us to say that you wanted to have a forum or you want to have a talk, right, in the future to more enlighten people to talk about corruption cases, right? So you may, next time, maybe you are not invite me as a speaker, you can also invite me as a panel forum to stay on stage here with more interactive with participants, right? And we can also have much more on the discussion group as well, right? We may have different forms of presenting how to actually combat corruptions, right? Number 8, advise public bodies on any changes in practice, system and procedures to combat corruption, right? Number 9, we educate the public through posters, social medias, as well as TikTok, so that people will actually have more messages on fighting corruptions, right? And number 10, to support, to get public support against corruptions, right? By using social medias and also by using some of the campaigns that we have actually advertising it online or either offline, right? So these are the few functions here. So which are the most you like, you can join us and see what's your role play. And you may also undergoing our induction course for 1 year, right? It's free, but you need to go undercover training as well. So to become officer qualified, right? You need to do kawat kaki every morning and so on. So that is a good practice so that you have more enhance yourself on a leadership skill. So more preventive measure, we also have some educational measure and as well as some initiative to combat corruption by investigation, okay? But you will be very tired because 24 hours, you may actually look into figures, look into the accounts, and as well as discover some of the interviewing suspect, all right? So these are the main functions that we have. So we also quite to segregate some powers in implementations of the act and enforcing the law, right? So definitely we receiving some complaints or information given. Once we receive, we will clarify and do some verification on the ground so that we have started our investigation operationally as well as doing arrest on the ground. Okay. After doing arrest, we will submit the investigation paper to AG chambers, right? So AG chambers will have deputy prosecutions or deputy prosecutor to review the outcome of the case that has been request or either has been given to talks about the case, whether there is a ground on the basis to prosecute in court. Okay, so when it is prosecuted in court, there will be some trial going on, as well as some debates on oral debates, some evidences will be given testifying in court, right? So there's a trial, and also there has many trials that actually will be and reviewed by the judge as well. So the judge will make the judgment in court, and after the trial, the judge will actually say there's a penalized or either a jail penalty. Okay. Here we have many names coming up to talk about corruption or bribe or kickback, right? Circumstantially, maybe people will try to use under table money, kautim, duit kopi, right? Or the duit minyak or makan suap. Okay, so these are the few names that are actually given very commonly to just to hide the kickback as a practice. All right. Okay. So what is corruption? Right. Particularly, corruption is a gratification that is considered bribe money, form of money, is or in the form of cash, or in the form of check, or TT transfer, or even e-wallet, or NFT, or cryptocurrencies. Right? That is a trend going on. It's much more challenging because we have cryptocurrencies, we have AI. It's also very difficult to detect when the money is upflow in overseas or like Swiss bank and so on. So we have to trail the money and discover the kickback behind the story of NFT or cryptocurrencies. Right? It's much more virtual already. Okay. So wages, in Bahasa Melayu we call it upah. Right? So it's as an example, someone call you to say, hey, can you buy me a cigarette? In return, you must do something for me. You either giving a speech because I give you some certain money, you go and buy a certain thing for me, or you go and pick up certain things for me. So it's something a form of intentionally criminalized to do something else on behalf of certain people, right? Number 3, reward. The reward can be a form of gift, right? It's like something expensive watches or some expensive food or luxury hotels, be invited to play golf and so on. So some is reward in a form of gift. Okay. Number 4, vote. Okay. Number 5, bonus. Right? It can be given an unfair bonus to your colleagues, right? Because he has actually a favor someone else, right? So there is a favoritism. So in positions, all right, in a conflict of interest, maybe you give, you pick your wife or your siblings to as a contractors that has conflict interest with your job, all right. Number 7, a huge discount, right, where undervalue money, right, of the property, you get in a form of undervalue or cheap, huge discount has been given to you in a form of corruptions, right? Number 8, services, right? Services such as massage services, or either you go for vacations, it's a special gift of corruptions, all right? So these are the services. All right, so in short, corruption is basically a kind of act of giving and receiving of any gratification or reward in the form of cash, in kind, of high value or to performing tasks irrelevant to his or her job descriptions, right? The main thing is here, giver and receiver are both criminalized, right? So both are actually commit a criminal offense under the MACC Act, right? So both will be actually penalized to be the suspect, okay? So whether they are receiving or giving in a form of corruptions, they will have some favor where they have conflict of interest towards relevant to their job decisions, right? Whether they are a lecturer, so every lecturers, they will have job situations to say that this is my job situations, right? So my job situations is to do a marking paper. So when I do a marking paper, I do not want to receive any bribe money. If I receive, might be considered a conflict of interest towards my job. All right? Just give you an example. A contractor reward a gift in an expensive watch to a government officer for awarding a project to the company belonging to the contractors. All right? So this is one of the examples. All right? So under the MACC Act, there was 4 main offenses, right? Number 1, soliciting and receiving gratifications. The Section 16 and 17A MACC Act, right? This act, because of receiving gift back, there will be some requests as well as some demand through WhatsApp or phone calls or either emails. So there will be certain people who say, oh, I wanted to have something else so that I will do this favor to you, right? If not, no, right? So this is very important for us to understand. Number 2, offering or giving bribe, right, under Section 17B MACC Act. All right. Normally, you will drive your car, right? Let's say the police officer stop you, right, on the traffic, and the police officer say, "I want to give you a summon, right, because you have a wrong doing, if you have committed a traffic offenses." But so silly that the guy do not wanted to take the summon and wanted to just pay the bribe and willingly to open the wallet, right? Even the police officer and rejected, warned him to say that I don't want to receive your bribe money. But that's silly that that guy would just wanted to give the bribe money, all right? So the police officer can immediately arrest and bring it to MACC for further investigations, right? So hopefully where you are going elsewhere, just don't stop by the police and try to be silly and do a bribery or offering the bribe to an officer. All right? Number 3, intention to deceive or false claim. Okay. Claim can be a form of invoice. Claim can be a form of medical claim. Claim can be a form of receipts, or claim can be a form of mileage claim, overtime claim, right? So a claim can be falsified by the signature or either the amount of money or a specifications that never according to the specs that request, or any payment that be paid by a forgery signature as well as the itemized is not according to the specs, where the quantity or either the quality, right? So it's under a false claim under the Section 18 MACC Act, all right? Don't worry, later we'll have further more on the cases so that you can further more understanding on how the sections apply to our current world, right? Number 4, using office or position for bribe, and we call it abuse of power, Section 23. Right. So every leaders or in a corporate world, a manager, right, will be appointed to be someone else in a job decisions. He or she might make decisions every day, right? You might be making decisions on picking up the contractors through a procurement process, or either you are looking into other good school, whether you wanted to have some good vendors, or either you wanted to pick certain levels of people, to recruit certain people to be talented people in your team, right? So every people, when it matters, you will be making decisions, right? But some bad decisions, they have conflict of interest. What is conflict of interest? That it will be occur when you have some conflict of interest with your siblings, where you pick your contractors, whereby the contractors is your siblings or relatively have some blood connections because of chronism or either that he's have a connection with you. So that is more indirectly of conflict of interest. Okay, it's section 23 MACC Act. Okay, so I hope this will bring you a boring topic. Let's go into the interesting topic about all the fantastic cases. All right. Carry group, right? So I think everybody have the government with you, right? But you may not know this company is really behind the scene. We have done investigations, right? So we, together with the PDRM and Bursa Malaysia, right, the authorities investigate this company, all right? So we found out that is a lot of misappropriate fund going around this company, all right? But how do we discover it? Definitely there will be an insider, right? So the insider is the internal investigations that appoint independent forensics specialists to conduct investigation to support the authorities, right? So the first hand is the auditors who actually pick up, accountants who pick up the case that is a fraud or either that is financial misappropriate. So we'll hand over to us and we will probe on other sections that are relevant to us. But one thing you have to declare and bear in mind that MACC issue a freezing order to all operations of the company and its subsidiaries. So it will be difficult for the company to operate well, right? So the freezing order will be actually a huge punishment for the companies to operate accordingly. All right? Okay, the next slide. This is more interesting, all right? Go to the restaurants that you go because of good food. But some restaurants, they have some cable issues or meter issues, right? Such as these restaurants, right? It's the restaurant owner, Mr. Ho, has actually operate unbilled meter operations restaurants. So one day, our MACC officer given authorities or a task to be undercover as a TMB officer. So TMB officer is wearing the jacket of blue jacket and a white and a black cap. So just so easy to be a TMB officer. So just go there and they found out that actually this is unbilled meter running in the restaurants. So silly that the Mr. Ho take out how much? 3,000 ringgit to pay the bribe money. Okay? And immediately our officer arrested him and discovered that bribe money actually is paid to an officer. Right? So we investigate this case and further is on the trial. Right? Right. So ex-manager claims to accept 170,000 for KIA2 construction work, right? So I think you have Sabah Sarawak or either regular plane traveler, right? You go to KIA2, you see KIA2, wow, so nice and something else. But when during the constructions, right, they have also a corruption issues there, right? Such as the case that we have discovered, that looking into the pipeline that appointed a petroleum gas engineer to do the tunnel for the planes to land and to get fuel from the petroleum, right? So when these contractors discovered this, they wanted to have some money, right, to create some cartel companies to be set up as an agent to receive some bribe money, right, to get award and to return it to say that, okay, that is discover a financial crime, all right? This is one of the case that we have proceeded. All right. This case is much more interested that we discover a case that is already happened 10 years ago, right? Actually, whereby there's no timeline for us to investigate, even though it's already retired or either the suspect already retired or either 10 years ago, the case we can still discover. You see, one of the most interestingly that we still can seize 24 juta, okay, hasil penyitaan aset walaupun kes berlaku kira-kira 10 tahun yang lalu. Oh, so it's so clever, that so smart that this suspect keep a lot of his money or her money in banks, right, or either in a cushion in a house, right? So we discovered it, even though the corrupt money has happened 10 years ago, right? Okay, a construction site supervisor, right, in his 30s was arrested, all right, because in probe to allegation corporations with an administrative assistant in 5,000 ringgit company in 2022. Payment is an indictment to compound issues by an enforcement authorities against the company concerned for failing to produce standard compliance aggregated building materials. Right? This is one of the cases that we discover for building materials as well as construction industries. Right? Just 5,000 ringgit only. Right? But the material is not according to standard and compliance aggregated. Right? So is it safe to live there? I don't think so, right? Okay. Right. And Dato highway of a highway concessions arrest. Right? Every day you fly on a highway, right? Right. You keep on driving, going back to your hometown, or either you come for a traveling purpose. But each highway, they also have some huge, right, compliance on having good news to say that they have initiatively looking into anti-bribery or corruptions, right, initiatively. But that will not cover you to be investigated by MACC, right? Even you have already done very good compliance, good governance, but so silly that the leaders are still corrupt behind the scene, okay? This is interestingly a company boss in procurement cartel cases, right? Maybe I will just explain in a layman. A procurement can be very drastically conquered by one major contractors, right? We call it cartel, right? In a form of creating more companies, but all these companies are actually owned by one directors only. So when you go in a bidding exercise, whether it's bidder A, B, C, it actually comes out with a cartel cases, and all these companies A, B, C is actually controlled by one mastermind. All right. So this is where we discover the case. So importantly, right, the food has been made, but the question is not fully completed. Right? Don't pay anything that is not delivered fully completed to you. Right? Yes, you are a consumer. You will not also pay something else that actually didn't get complete, right? So as such as this case, don't make a payment, right, where the construction is still not fully completed, right? So in terms of that, to remind everyone, if you are a leader, you are working for civil servant, please don't blindly sign something else unless you double check and do some due diligence towards the quantity and the quality, right? Okay. Okay, this one I think is also very interesting that everybody will have a house in future, right? When you grow up, you join a civil service or you have started a company, you will buy mortgage loan, you will have mortgage loan and buy houses, right? To live, right? Because you want to have a family. So silly that this case, they are lawyers that culprit giving bribe to the bank officers, okay, to take some contracts in a mortgage basis. Whether they are panel lawyers, the bankers will say, okay, I want you as a house owner to pick this lawyer because I have connection with this lawyer, right? Whereby actually the lawyer actually paid this banker certain amount of money, right? So this is the thing that maybe you don't actually allow the bankers to pick or select the lawyers for you. Okay, you have the right to actually say, I want to select this lawyer instead of you recommending to me, right? So this is a lesson learned. Right. Okay. Okay, when you join a corporate world, this is also a good lesson learned for everyone in the future, right? Don't always follow your boss. Don't say yes to your boss if your boss is involved in corruption cases, right? For example, one of the ketua unit pembiayaan di sebuah bank terbabit didakwa menerima rasuah berjumlah 31,100. Okay, bank milik syarikat ASAB. Saya dorong untuk membantu dalam proses pembangunan pribadi bank macam individu. See that the boss is already corrupt, is a bad leader, but the subordinate use yang juga sebagai kerani cawangan menerima rasuah berjumlah 8,150 sebagai dorongan. So it operates, right? It's like a subordinate wanted to join the boss to equally share the bribe money, right? So don't just to be a follower, as you wanted to also join the team to be a syndicated to take bribe, all right, to be accomplished in the cases, right? If you have discovered where your leaders are corrupt, just report it to the authorities to take actions against him, right? And don't blindly just follow because he instructed you to do it, all right? All right. So everybody also drive a car, right? Myvi or either imported car. So a car must also go to the banquet to claim insurance. Okay. So when you claim insurance, to make sure that your banquet owner or either the workshop tauke or either workshop repair is done according to the specs and quantity. Not just use your IC and your name, right, to claim the insurance, right, on behalf of you, but you cannot get 1 cent. Okay, in this case, right, it's actually Allah and is actually having an accident. That claim was dibuat atas kerja seorang penerima, dipercaya seorang wanita sedangkan tak ada tuntutan dilakukan. Okay, actually there is no repair. You just use your IC to actually claim from the insurance companies, right? Those misuse your IC for purpose, right? Right. This is another Bank Rakyat case. It's talking about a sponsorship, right? So whatever you do, you need to have a clear objective, right? To be honest, as well as to believe that sponsorships that you have done or you pay out is a benefit to the bank or the organizations, right? So what program you do, right? What initiative you do, right? Make sure that has a purpose and clear purpose that do not actually involve some criminals activities. Try to do some due diligence, right, towards that particular activities before you engage with them. All right. So this will be actually sound and honest and intelligent directors would have believed that the sponsors would have benefit the bank. Okay. So you make sure that anything sponsorships that you wanted to do, it has benefit to other people as well as do not involve in other criminal activities. All right. So funny this case. just want to ask you, I have worked in MACC for 15 years. What is the minimum threshold value of a bribe money have been investigated? How much one? 5 ringgit only, right? Okay, but it's not the matter of this 5 ringgit, right? Where you want to book up or either investigation paper. It's not about the 5 ringgit issues, but it's about the act or the wrongdoing that we are concerned. Even though it's 5 ringgit, you will be arrested because of this 5 ringgit of kopi money, right? So to be aware that these foreign workers, so silly that forbidden to enter the construction site due to his wrongdoing founded by the HR department. So if forbidden construction, silly is for work 5 ringgit to the security and be arrested immediately. Right? So this 5 ringgit story is quite interesting, and a lot of people will laugh because it's just 5 ringgit, right? For MACC officers to investigate a 5 ringgit case, it's like you have 24 hours overtime and is paid more than the 5 ringgit, right? But we still have to do it because it's not money, but it's the wrongdoing that action will actually bring harmful to our society. All right? Okay. Right. This on corporate liability, where not only we will punish the individuals or either we will charge the individuals for wrongdoing, right? But we also will frame a charge towards a company to have any initiative of compliance and preventing the act of corruptions. So he was engaged to commit offense, right, at the ministry level by offering a bribe to a minister. All right. So he charged offering to a minister, and he was towards his company. We commit the same offense and same intention. Capital A. All right. So the value of bribe level or the maximum jail terms of both conviction. Right? Okay. If you know any corruption cases, please do not hide. Right? If you know, you have the knowledge, right? Feel authorities of the act of giving and offering, you have committed an offense under Section 25. Okay. Just give you an example. Let's say in an exam hall, right, in a university, there will be also a lecturers try to be funny to receive 500 ringgit from the students, right, for marking a past questions, right? So 500 ringgit can be paid, right? The student have paid 500 ringgit. So another students know it that is a 500 ringgit paid, right? So the 500 ringgit, right, is a questions, but that 500 ringgit known by a suspect, right, has been paid actually accompanied by a student that witnessed it. So he or she has the knowledge, but failed to report the act of being and commit the offense under Section 25, right? So try, if you have the sense of looking into a case, if you have knowledge, if you have maybe involved in it, try to report to the Integriti, okay, to facilitate the investigation. All right. To give you an example, a former company's senior manager was fined because of failing to report an offense or violation to the authorities. All right. He or she has been committed an offense for him to not give a bad report of work performance companies that could result of his contract to be terminated, right? He has failed to actually report to the authorities, right? So this is one of the examples where we can learn from here. Okay, you are protected by Whistleblower Protection Act 2010, all right? any person need to afraid to combat corruptions. Whatever information given to us will be confidentially and will be protected under the Whistleblowing Act, right? Under any circumstances. A whistleblower that one inform the relevant authorities on its use of corruptions. Whistleblower will be protected under the Whistleblower Protection Act, right? So whistleblower can be also witness for corruption activities or either the wrongdoing will be considered as a witness, will be protected the Witness Protection Act 2009. Okay, how good is the Whistleblower Protection Act? Do we win a case? Yes, just show you a example. Okay, it's also CEO in public institutions of higher learning, right? His name is Dr. Syed Umar. Okay, he's the CEO of Institute Professional Baitumau Sendang Berhad, IPB, right? It's actually very nearby in Aruri, Kampung, right? So he covered certain allegations of fraud and financial impropriety within an institution, right? So he made a complaint to our office in Jalan Cochrane. So he came with all the evidence he had to carry out and say, okay, Tuan Cheong, this is the case. Can you help me to investigate? Okay, so I started to have the file. We opened, we called all the witnesses, right? But there is no case. There is just only allegations and misappropriate of calculations of money being paid without a receipts. So after that, the board of directors of these institutions was silly that sacked Dr. Syed for his reporting a wrongdoing to the authorities. So after Dr. Syed had been sacked, right, Dr. Syed said, why I have been sacked 24 hours? Why? What happened? Just because he has reported to MACC? Right? So we filed an investigation towards the board of directors of IPB. Alright? So because Dr. Syed came to us as a whistleblower, so we should protect him, right, as a whistleblower. But whistleblower cannot be protected unless he or she has been exposed their identity in a social media or to the public, right? Let's say somebody else just go to MACC and launch a complaint. But end of the day, they say, oh, I went to MACC, this is my report. I went to MACC, social media. So he or she will not be protected. But Dr. Syed will be protected because Dr. Syed is not a person that go to a social media and say to others he was a complainant or whistleblower of a case. So he will be protected. So we file a case and we sue the management of IPB in court. And end of the day, right, the court have decided to say that his former employer to cancel a notice of investigation initiated against him, right, for allegation misconduct. So have been taken actions, right, and pay back money to him that he win a suit of whistleblower. So this is a precedent case that Dr. Syed make a history in Malaysia for beginning a whistleblower case, right? So in everyone, you will have your own story. You may have your own story in future. Hopefully, you can also identify the risks, right, towards whatever job, whatever career that you are in future, right? Try to bear in mind, everybody can be a crook, can be an evil of your surrounding, whether they are your colleagues, whether they are your subordinate, whether they are your supervisor, right? Don't believe them because of their sweetness and so on. Try to do a risk assessment or try to evaluate them before you make any decisions, right? Such as conflict of interest, right? Or either building facilities or management, whether they comply to a certain standard, evidence standard, all right? Or either you do some due diligence to a supplier before you purchase something else or engage with the supplier. So you can identify your risks, where the risk may be also your future uphold integrity. All right? So what is your role as a student or as a future leader in career? You can use public speaking, telling people about anti strategies, right? You can promote this. You can also initiate it in your home or your residential areas, or either you can do it in your campuses or either your workplace in future, right? So there are many initiatives such as income tax deductions for conducting integrity and anti-corruption program for companies or corporate or either SMEs, where you can be an entrepreneur and you also can also do some good deeds and also good actions by organizing some integrity and anti-corruption program to the public to have a CSR or helping a moral value to uplift the society to more understand on anti-corruption and anti-bribery, right? So you have a proposal, okay, looking into the background of the program, details of the sequence of community involved and the cost breakdown, right? So once you submit this proposal to us, we will revise it, and your company or your entrepreneurial company will actually claim on the taxations, right? So this is one initiative for you to invest so that you can have more reputable and trusted brand when you join companies, all right? Okay. Education procedure for corporate liability based on trust principle. There are 5 acronyms: trust level management, is risk assessment. The third one is undertaking control measure or systematic review or monitoring or enforcement. Last but not least, training and communications. Right? Corporate liabilities is a form of preventive measure initiatively to allow corporate companies and employees to be protected, to have the equity procedures of doing some policies that actually prevent you to involve yourself in a corruption, right? So particularly any commercial organization refer to a company or partnership that incorporate under a Malaysian law, a company actually operate overseas but is belong to a Malaysian, right? So as well as we wanted you to join a company that is clean and clearly they actually do not involve in any other illegal activities, right? So who is liable under the section 17 capital A as a scope of associate person, right? Director, employees of the company who perform services for on behalf of the commercial organization, okay, such as agent, right? Somebody who have the future to be an insurance agent, property agent, or either you wanted to have foresee yourself to be a future leader in a certain industry, right? For example, you want to have a JV company with Saudi or either US or either some other foreign companies. So you look into issues where they covered on behalf of the company and consider associated with commercial organizations where they have 70 capital A that initially have some due diligence to comply with the anti-corruption law to ensure adequate procedures are in place to detect, prevent, and minimize corruption practice, right? So that is very important that when you go future in a workplace, you make sure that your boss is clean, your leaders are clean, your board of directors is not involved in illegal activities, and you yourself as also go into where there is no syndicated crime scene, right? Okay, so the extent of this criminal liability for senior personnel, which include directors, controllers, officers, partners, or person concerned about management, right, will not be get away for giving them a punishment under the 17 capital A. they should have been responsible to do more to prevent corruptions occur within the organizations, right? So that is also approved with the presumptions of criminal liability, okay, to make sure that the person will be deemed to have commitment or the same offenses committed by the commercial organization. Just like just now, there is a director offered a bribe to a minister. So he is committing an offense, and not only offense that he committed will be punished, but his organization will be also be punished under 17 capital A. Alright. So the defense is to have in place procedures, all right, designed to prevent persons associated with the commercial organizations for taking conduct, right? Officers must have the probability that he or she exercise due diligence to prevent, right, the corruption happen, and to exercise having the regards this nature of his function in integrity to a circumstances. So he or she should make sure that that is also adequate procedures that actually prevent corruption happen within the organizations. All right. So that is also a penalty, right, under the 17 capital A. All right. Okay. So the guideline of adequate procedures is about understanding what adequate procedures should be implemented, right? And one size is not a one size fits all, but should be implemented practically in appropriate the skill, nature, industry, or the risk or complexity of the organization, right? To ensure that corruption effort become an integrated part of their corporate culture at all levels, right? Not just the subordinate, but also the top down. Corruption prevention measure. Government organizations can also control measure to implement some policies on corruption, encourage reporting of corruption and risk. They also establish some guidelines such as conflict of interest, sponsorship. Right? Systematically review and analysis procedures as well as conduct internal audit as well as compliance on anti-corruption procedures and upon those who involve corruption or misconduct. Right? And training is also very important to enhance the among courts, continuously conduct the awareness program such as through social media or TikTok or branding. Right. So this is a part of the program for business and professionals, right? So you may also join some of the talks that overseas, outside, within the business organizations and professional bodies in future. Okay, so we will conduct advisory and services to enhance the probability to have project charter that have right corruption risk management, anti-corruption long-term strategies, as well as management system, code of conduct, right? To build up more workshops, people can more practically use those tools to implement their initiative. Right. So we continue with certain great program that fantastically towards to enhance youth as an entrepreneur, right? Entrepreneur as a youth, not just to just do some good business, but can be also involved in some charity and also awareness program, the initiative by joint venture, right, with the members and other stakeholders as well. Right? So we also conduct a lot of programs with other stakeholders so that they can also bring more messages within their industries and within their colleagues or their peer. Right. So we also want to strengthen by looking into Ikrar Bebas Rasuah. Okay. We do conduct Ikrar Bebas Rasuah in hospitals so that the patient and the relationship between the patient and the medical personnel have a gray line to say that there's a boundary. Okay, they shouldn't receive anything. The doctors cannot receive any tokens of appreciation from the patient. All right. So besides that, we also give talks to social medias, to the agents undergoing of funeral services, right, on the ground. So because agents are the one who actually perform the sales task, so they are the important people, right? And just want to let you know that talks in public so important that discover a case after 3 days the talks occur. Okay, we discover the bride we pay to the hospital. Okay, dead body, right? It's like after you die, also you need to pay bride money to reclaim the dead body for funeral services, right? After a talk, right? You see, the talk is conducted 21st, 22nd. So after the talk, we have discovered officer come forward. The third, we arrest staff for receiving bribe from that family members who wanted to reclaim the dead body, right? So the moral is that don't think that the world is peace. Even though it's a dead body, you still need to pay a bribe. Okay? Right. As we not only provide talks, we also wanted them to enhance their capability to fight corruptions. All right? Okay, we also do virtual e-learning with the stakeholders within the oil and gas industry. Okay, online platforms as well. Okay, and we also started to help industry practitioners or through a table of commons to fight corruptions for a certain goal within this industry. Okay, we could Bella staff. We also conduct inductions for their orientations week, right? So that they have also practiced more integrity and do their job well, right? With a clean heart. Right. So bomber experience is also very important so that to prevent fire security and safety guidelines so that they have more perspective towards their compliance. All right. So everyone here who also wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? So one day if you be an entrepreneur, you also join a franchise program. So you will have franchise and franchisees relationship. So make sure your franchise don't take advantage towards you, right? To actually ask you a bribe money to approve certain claims or either some good benefits for you, right? So to maintain this franchisee, please join the franchise program that we have initiatively given a talks to all the franchise and franchisees. Now is very hot, franchise and franchisees. You see on shopping malls, they have Farm Fresh, they are all franchise, right? Orientation Copy, they are all franchise. So a lot of growing up this kind of retail platforms, okay? So 118 Mall is coming, Ombak Mall is coming, Sunway Mall is coming. So a lot of retailers are joining as a franchise entrepreneur. So we also towards our stakeholders of manufacturers. So manufacturers in the factories where they're located in Shah Alam or either Subang or some industrial parts, right? So we also make sure that they have produced their qualities that meet the specs of certification of the standard, right? So besides that, we also wanted to attract more foreign direct investment from overseas. So we do engage with overseas panel right, or investors, so that they understand that Malaysians have the effort to fight corruption, to make sure that our country is clean. So this effort make sure that foreign direct investment will continually go into our country and invest. Right? So not talking about workplace, right? But it's your residential areas. High-rise building may have high-rise risks because they have much more groups of communities or neighborhood that surrounded, right? So residential areas must be fully monitored by a joint management body that's selected or elected by the members of neighborhood. So make sure that JMB's committees are also clean and also have conduct a good practice to make sure the lift in your condo is operated, the Suridat is there, the cleaning is all, make sure it's complied to the standard, so that you will not have corruption issues where you live with your neighborhood with a clean and greater ideas. All right. So this is one of the initiatives we're working with Data of Kuala Lumpur to online courses with the developers, for the developers, and JMB and MC and the SATA title building. Right? So we have initiatively conduct certain things with the mayor. School children, primary schools and secondary schools is also not left behind. Right? We try to create some good comics or either cartoons to make sure that the message will be delivered to the primary school and secondary school students. In future, maybe you one day you will become a teacher in a school, right? You can also initiatively conduct this kind of courses, right? And by engaging with MACC, right? We have all the posters, comic books to be distributed to the primary school students. So please come forward and engage with us. Don't be shy, all right? When you are going to Jalan Cochrane, right, going towards IKEA, just pick up certain poster from us to distribute to all the students so that the message will be delivered to them. All right. So, AKMA, Angkatan Mahasiswa Anti-Rasuah. This is one of the initiatives that actually you can join as a curriculum practice as a member of a club, so that you have the initiative by your university, right? I think somebody has a member here also, right? Okay, good. Please take pictures. All right. Whoever is a member of karate here, so please join the IIUM Karate Do. It's also one of our initiatives to actually practice karate to be a champion in the competitions, right? So join with them to do a lot of competition, fair competitions, right? Clean competitions without bribery, right? So to make sure that everybody have a fair and square to win a competitions, right? So to just remember my master from IIUM, Jihan Anwar, we have initiatively hope that IIUM to become a best institutions in the world. So we have initiatively grow the karate club here, right? So in Gombak, we have Tuesday and Friday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. here in FST. All right, this is one initiative that we joined together with a karate club here. All right. Besides looking at it, also we wanted to make sure you yourself, after graduate, you also want to pursue your postgraduate studies, right? You can also pick anti-corruption as one of your topic of your case study. It's quite interestingly, you can also make a thesis that look into corruption issues, right? One of my thesis is actually talking about anti-corruption within the YNDB scandal. So it become a great scholarly studies for the institutions, right? So besides that, we also initiatively having some professional courses within the university, so that you will actually enhance development goals, right? so that we enhance our local institutions towards a better institutions that practice sustainability. All right. These are the score that we have with USF that now 2022 have ranked global impact study. Right. So stamps, right? The stamp is not just for postage, also to send out a message as a publication or branding for its organizations to have. So once you start your company, you may also do some branding. So make sure your products are clean and also make sure your services are up to the standards of quality to actually not to scam people, but to persuade people to buy your products, right? So this is one initiative. You can also visit our lockup in the office, right? You are welcome to visit us, not just to stay in the lockup, but also to visit the lockup. Or either you can initiate a group or community to come to pay a visit, all right? Not just as a board, okay, but also as a students or either as a participants. Right, so every time we do a talk, we will have an initiative with the newspaper. We engage with the mainstream media so that the mainstream media will also deliver some message to the newspaper readers or either the people outside there to actually let people to know that the publications are always behind the scene to send out a clear message of effort to fight corruptions. Right, so how to report to MACC? All right, so bear in mind, you must have evidence. All right, you must also have documented evidence, or either you may identify the person that involved, any other incidents, right, that may help out in the investigation process. All right, either the time, the dates that you can remember, right? Or somehow you may also take out your cell phone to do some recording towards the evidence you can gather, right? So these are the few tools that you can use to gather the first-hand evidence to do a report to MACC. Okay, where do you do the report to MACC? Right, you can go to the nearest office in Jalan Konkret or either Shah Alam. Right? So you can also go to police stations. Okay, you can also go and write to us on our hotline as well. All right. So the effort of anti-corruption has been also combating a sacrifice of our officers, but this will not stop us continuously combating corruptions. Without fear and favor, we wanted to make sure that Malaysia grows as a clean country, right? So we have many stories that the Tony Carey Moraes, the late Tony Carey Moraes, passed away because of cement by the suspect of the corruption cases. Or we even have Muhammad Rosli, the late Muhammad Rosli, have actually involved in combating corruption on the COVID cases, right? To be undercover to discover some COVID cases that actually involve financial scandal. Right. So your employer will receive from a supplier. What should you do? Right? You should immediately launch a report to MACC, okay, with the evidence you have gathered. Right? So what kind of initiative you can make it success? Right? You can make a talk show on anti-corruption program. You can make a forum, or you can also do some coloring contests, or either some fair contests, right, within your communities based on your interests. Okay? Why give policy is important? Okay, give policy is important to make sure there is a guideline, there's a gray area, so that you will not having a main offense to receive some huge luxury or expensive watch from the supplier, right? Okay, what is the difference between commercial crime and MACC Act? Actually, there's a difference. When you go and launch get a police report. But in MACC, there is no such police report because we wanted to protect the whistleblower who come forward and blow the whistle. Right? So you will not have any police report from MACC. Okay. The second thing that's different is when you launch a police report, right? There is always a tarik barik report, right? But in MACC, we do not have tarik barik report. Once it's launched, you must cooperate and assist us fully in the investigation process, right? So there are also certain senses that difference between our Penal Code as per MACC Act. Under the Penal Code, there is extortion, okay? Paras ugut, okay? Intimidations, pemerasan, right? Or let's say someone else threaten you. You either take this money or you'll be shot. So that is threatened. So what is threatened? That is on police criminal actions to protect you, right? Second, forgery, fraud cases, cheating or scam, right? Is for whereby the police will investigate some scammers or other cheating cases, right? Where you have some huge losses towards the cheating. And maybe someone cheat you, then you pay a certain money and you got cheated, right? You make losses because of cheating, right? So you can launch a police report. After launching a police report, you may also hire a lawyer to do a civil suit to reclaim, right, the losses that you have made. Okay, so that is why a police report is so important, so that you can also hire a lawyer to do a civil suit towards the company or either the person have been cheated you to reclaim back the losses, right? So that is the main differences. Okay, criminal breach of trust, or in Bahasa Melayu we call it pecah amanah. Okay, so that is under the penal or misappropriate of asset or fund. Okay, we call it salah guna asset ataupun salah guna dana. So this is under the penal. It's like someone else in your company, all right, or a cashier who takes the cashier drawer, like the 2 ringgit or 5 ringgit, put inside the pocket. So that is more on pecah amanah, okay, and is investigated by the police. So that is the huge differences between the two agencies, right? So last but not least, we also wanted to have the activities on good governance to identify risks and to comply with what initiatively done with a good effort to combat corruptions. So hopefully everybody have enlightened yourself into understanding on how the effort corruptions works, whether in current situations where you are students or you are future leaders in your career. So good luck for everyone to be in this campus, and hopefully you will have more greater initiative in helping us, join hand with us, collaborate with us, have collectively combating corruptions. Right? So thank you very much. Hopefully you'll have questions to ask. Thank you. So I open the floor to a Q&A. Don't be shy. If you are a great leader, please ask questions. Maybe the MC can coordinate the questions.
Anyone have a question? No one's upstairs? Yes, ma'am. Can I go to the nearest mic? Oh, okay. I have a question. If the university, or let's say the student, they want to conduct let's say, a leadership workshop, and they are requesting from company A, which neither our kind of vendor or having any procurement activity with the university, none at all. But they are requesting from this company A to get a sponsorship to sponsor the workshop. It's for the and for the students program as well. What is your view in regard to that? Is that a monsoon or bribery?
Okay. Thank you for your questions. Very brave lady. I hope you will be a leader one day in your career. Good luck for you. It's a very good question that practically he will face this in the future career because currently he's facing now in this university. Yeah, normally university students will organize activities with the stakeholders, and sometimes we may not know you have a conflict or not with the contractors that involve the procurement process here in the universities. Yeah, you are right. So to be clear that you must have the courage to undertake control measure. Okay, the control measure is to do due diligence with the how Ewa Murray or ID and me. Normally I call it Pusari, right? In the university, they have it. So you can check with them whether they are a panel list of vendors or procurement exercise that they have joined to be a bidders. So you may just do a declarations, right, to your lecturer, right, to say that one of this club is involved with the contractors, right? So hopefully the contractor will not take advantage towards the activities to exploit or exploit the students, right? Just to ensure that they have actually sponsored just for the program, but not to mislead any other purpose, all right? So check and balance, accountability, as well as integrity of the particular students or organizer must be ensured that undergoing measure taken place to ensure the sponsorships are delivered without fear and favor or intentionally to exploit the program. All right, I'll give you such an example of this program. Okay, this program is sponsored by these two companies, right? So that when I organize it with JCI International, Bukit Bintang, okay, JCI, Bukit Bintang is all these youth entrepreneurs. So when we engage with them, we make sure that the sponsors deliver, right, the value, right, or the sponsors give us food that actually meets the quality standard, right? And we wanted to appreciate the companies as well. We give them a token of appreciation without fear and favor, right? We also ensure that there are no conflict of interest within the members as well as the companies, right? Because the companies must be independently, willingly to sponsor without any conflict of interest with the JCI members and also MACC officers as a speaker. So we want to ensure that accountability is clean as well as also practice integrity, that fairly that we pick or we select the sponsors that actually can deliver without fear and favor. Right? So they just wanted to do a CSR and charitable donation program to the JCI communities. Right? So this is one of the examples that we have empower young people as well as deliver, educate the risks within the organization committee. Right? So this is a very good question. Thank you. So any other question? Oh, we have another gentleman here.
Yeah. Hello. My name is Rizwan. I am a student under leadership class. My question is more to recent incident. If you could clarify, we are all aware that one of the high profile person, she is a businesswoman, Pamela. Do you know about her?
Yeah.
But since there is no update, and there's actually a lot of news, whether I'm verified or verified on TikTok, that it was allegedly police officers. But I believe PDRM has already denied this claim. But public perceptions are heavy on it's actually police officers that actually kidnapped her. So since there's 2 weeks, the incident has happened. Can you keep us updated in this issue? This is already here. Thank you.
Okay, good. He's a very good gentleman that keep reading the latest news. Okay. Isu semasa tak lupa zaman. Isu semasa sentiasa berkembang, sentiasa menjayakan kehidupan anda. Because all the current issues is one of the most important thing that give us new insights, new update that will cheerful in our life to say that this is actually one of the things that we need to be alert, right? So what are the things that what of a good case that we can learn from here is the last part, Witness Protection Act, right? Witness Protection Act is perlindungan saksi, right? So perlindungan saksi is what we engage with the witness. We have to make sure that the witness is safe, is contactable, and as well as not be threatened to give oral evidence to MACC, right? And we want to make sure if the witness have been threatened, they can launch a police report, right? And will the police investigate further and probe on that case? That will be great. And if they found any circumstantial vendors will harm our case, then we will take actions towards the authorities or either the witness. So we want to make sure that every witness, right, are safe and be perfectly conduct integrity to give us the full cooperation, right? For the case that he given example, that this case is still probing to actually allocate some of the suspects that involved in this syndicated, right? But we cannot deny that where all the syndicated are actually legally rights, right? So we have to prove that this such an incident that is a lesson to actually make sure that your witness can be contacted by the authorities and to make sure that if they needed some protections or whether they are guarded houses or put it in the safe house, we will put the first-hand initiative towards a case, right? I have maybe involved in many other cases, right? In myself also, I have also involved in cases that being threatened, all right, by the suspect. But we will not be fear to continue our journey to combat corruptions because we do not have interest to carry that shame of humiliations or either the conflict of balas dendam between the suspect and MACC. We always wanted to make sure that the suspect also feel safe and give the full cooperation to MACC, right? If you want to be my suspect, you are my suspect for a certain case, for this case only. But outside, you are still a normal person to live and to breed and to survive with your families, right? So always we don't have any conflict of interest or either we don't have any bad intention or either balas dendam or sakit hati with the witness or either the suspect. So a lot of my weakness and my suspect are always safe in my office. So I make sure throughout my career, 15 years, will actually journey what I learned, apply towards a caring, towards their human rights that we respect, that they are our suspect and our weakness, right? So good questions, right? So this is where highlighted to learn more, to make sure that our weaknesses are safe, right? To give oral evidence to MACC. All right, next question.
Hello, sir. I just received a text from my auntie. You yourself are in anti-corruption. How could the MACC establish integrity within the
Good. This answer again can ChatGPT, right? Can you find out this answer from the ChatGPT?
this is yourself.
Oh, okay. I thought you can find the answer from ChatGPT. All right. Since we are all here, right, I give you a very honest question that, all right, among your colleagues, among your friends, it can be your friends, all right. Do you actually? I don't want to reveal the case, all right, but I get involved to catch my own colleagues in HQ, right? So sad that I have to catch the person that I already know 15 years, right, and record his statement as a suspect, where a person that I respect and I know him, right, very well, right? It's not good way, but we have to do it, all right? And I also must make sure, as a leader on investigation team, I also deliver my accountability to my superior as well as my accountability to my subordinate. So make sure that my subordinate ensure they even bekerja dari rumah, PDR, also they have to come to job to actually deliver whatever. Right? So humans have a lot of problems. They have family problems, right? They have a lot of loans. They have even personal problem. But we have to make sure that we solve their problem, we take care of them, we mentor them, we make sure that we have share value towards combat corruptions. Right? It's more on leadership, that how do you concern your subordinate to make sure your subordinate are being cared and taken care of, so that they also respect you and you will give back that they will not involve in other illegal activities, right? Since recently also you read some newspaper, some MACC was caught, arrested by the police in a nightclub. Oh, that is very scary, right? How can MACC go to a nightclub and drink? All right, so we try to practice more integrity as well as to make sure that accountability with our officers, whether it's top level or either the subordinate. So we must also be a strong leader to ensure that everything is taken care of collectively within the organizations, right? But whoever is wrong, you kena menegur. Tegur menegur bukan satu kesalahan, tapi adalah satu pengajaran dan berkongsian untuk memerangi atau mengatasi masalah. Okay, so I think that's the best way to answer your question.